Volusia County is home to some big races. There's a 24-hour one in January. They call one of them the Great American Race, the kickoff for premier sprint car racing every year, a big race they hand out an alligator trophy for. The list goes on, and now gets to include what's in store tonight. Welcome to the world's fastest half mile, Volusia Speedway Park, for the Pete Cosco Memorial. Tonight we take on this half mile in honor of a great friend, father, grandfather, and integral member of the racing community to keep his legacy and passion flowing in the heart of our great sport. We are finally charged up and ready for the start of the 7th season of the BRP iRacing series. We are the Double J Diggies live with BRPtv. I'm Joe Donahue, joined alongside Jonathan Howe for the 117-lap feature tonight. Jonathan, the wait is over, and we've got an awesome night of throwback-themed edge-of-seat action set to go for the Pete Cosco Memorial.
I've had the pleasure of calling the Pete Cosco Memorial at Humberstone Speedway, the track that Pete once owned with his wife, and it's just a special night to be able to carry on that legacy into BRP. Obviously, we have plenty of drivers and contestants tonight that are very familiar with racing in Southern Ontario and the legacy that Pete left behind. 2 decades plus of racing experience as a driver himself, owned race cars for the likes of Stuart Friesen, Adam Ferry, also Chris Steele, and even grandson Jordan Cosco, who still pilots the 17C to this day around Southern Ontario. Going to be honored to have his grandpa's legacy carried out tonight. And one of our competitors in the race tonight, Double D, Dylan Davidson, another grandson of the late Pete Cosco, going to be racing, and he's got that Cosco haulage 73 car ready to go. Talked to him over the weekend, and a lot of people are looking forward to this. Was going to be a very special race. Of course, the 117 lap count, obviously the 17 go for Pete, of course, in the 17C, that Fred Flintstone carrying the 17C, very iconic around Southern Ontario region. And of course the payout too, $117 to the winner tonight, Joe.
Yeah, so for tonight's showdown, we're going to see a lot of these great throwback schemed cars. Now, don't get too comfortable watching some of these guys run these cars like Dave Petro in this pink machine here. We're running throwbacks in honor of Pete tonight, and we will be running for money. There is a payout on the line. We have to get to the feature to give that money out, though, first. So we're going to start with this practice session ending. We'll go into qualifying. Everybody's going to have 2 laps to put in their best lap time to set up the starting grids of our 3 heat races tonight. Those will then set the grid for the 117-lap feature, which, like Jonathan mentioned, has $117 going to the race winner at the end of what should be grueling event. But, Jonathan, there's a little bit of money going out to second through, 10th place as well?
Yep, $75 for second, $60 for third, $50 for fourth, $40 for fifth, and 6th through 10th bringing home $20 each. Also, some special money handed out for the hard charger and hard luck, $10 each. And if you can find yourself at the front for a heat win, $8 in the purse for you there as well. So lots of pretty solid income for a Monday night of sitting behind a computer to be had if you can have a great solid finish tonight. And of course, you want to start the season strong, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. The points you're going to get out of tonight are going to definitely set the tone for the rest of the season. And we have a good season ahead of us. And to go on to the point about our partners who's made this payout possible, we have to make a special shout out to Coda Construction and Cosco Haulage for putting up the money to then give out to these drivers at the end of the action tonight. But we also have to make a shout out to MDR Designs, Creative Turnings, Jam Performance, the Super Dirt Car Series, Dig Race Products, BRPtv, Southern Ontario Dirt Show for also coming on board and helping this series stay afloat and give out the payouts for these drivers that not only are going to be at the end of this race, but the end of the season, as a $300 payout will go to the champion at the end of the 21 race schedule. Tonight's race is about to start getting a move on. We want to thank everybody who's tuned in. We are at a live count of about 30 people on the stream. We're very happy to have you here as the practice session comes to a close, and we will skip over to start the qualifying session for the Pete Cosco Memorial tonight. So the last drivers are going to come around and reset. And now, as you can see, the system's going to reset. And Mr. Howe, qualifying's underway. Only 3 minutes for these guys to put the lap times in.
Yeah, pressure is on to set that quick time. I don't know who I really liked what I saw of Isley in that brief practice session that was up and what we were watching just before the broadcast went live. So we'll see who can bring it home when the quickest time here and as the 03 car is up first. I'm looking forward to watching this track change throughout the night. Got to figure that this is going to be the most tacky, the most variety of lanes that they're going to have all day. And this is our pal Matt DeRitter out right now in that beautiful number 3 car, 03. Looking pretty fast so far. What do you think, Joe?
Well, he's going to put up a 17.001, so he's going to hold the potential pole. And just as I say that, oh my goodness, all the board numbers are going up, and Joe Matthews puts up a 16.76 in car number 9. That's going to hold the true top spot for the moment. Never mind. Dan Sider goes up top. This is how we're going to be going with qualifying for the season. It's just going to be like a thunderstorm of lap times getting put up on the board. But right now, Dan Sider in the 084 scored number 84 car, he is the fastest, so he will be starting on the pole in one of our heat races. But like we mentioned, there's 3 of them, so you can hold on to the top 3 spots and start at the front. Tyler Joshimbowski puts in a time that gets him up to 11th on the grid. We're still waiting on a couple more guys to put in times. Those are all of them out on the racetrack. Gavin Isley, Pat Reiser, Randy Giroux, and Brandon Plank. We're watching Gavin Isley, a guy that Jonathan mentioned to watch out for, and I think over the course of this race, especially at the end, we've known him as the Catfish in the past. He wants to go by the Gas Man, and we'll have to see which of those 2 nicknames suit the style of driving that he puts down as he goes second quick. Well, Gas Man might hold, Jonathan.
That's what I was expecting to see. DeRitter looked fast, but as soon as I saw that 17 come up, I knew that, okay, he's going to fall down based on what we saw in practice. I think most of the field was sitting in that 16.8 range, and now we've seen about, 6 cars that have broken the sub-16.8 range. I want to see if somebody can push it right down into the 16.6s, because if you can get down to that part, I don't think anybody's going to catch you for the pole. As we keep an eye on the 8 car making a lap here, I like what Sider's got up there. That's going to be a really hard time to beat.
Yeah, so everybody has put in their lap times. That was Pat Reiser in that number 8 car. And so the scoring pylon is going to have the numbers registered to every car for the season on it. The issue with that might be tonight that identification-wise, some of these guys aren't running the same number in the race as they are going to be for the entire season. One of those was that number 8 car we saw of Pat Reiser. He's the number 33 for the season. But how about Dan Sider? I'm honestly wasn't expecting Dan Sider to come out of the cannon like that. Gavin Isley, Joe Matthews, 2 very strong drivers, as well as Bardsley and Pachalski. I guess you could say we're along the lines, but they are going to be starting in the front of their own respective heat races. But let's bring up the starting grid for the first one we've got tonight, starting on the pole in the number 84 machine out of Ontario, the MPR Graphics Built Trip Race Recovery number 084 of Dan Sider. To his outside is going to be Zach Bardsley, running a throwback to his family-owned 2004 car that ran weekly at New Egypt Speedway. Jeff Sharp and Ryan Susie are going to make up row number 2 in the 28 and 38. And then Tyler Joshimbowski, Dave DiPetro, they're going to make up row 3. Row 4 is going to start on the inside with Matt DeRitter in a throwback to his dad's car from 2007. The big show, Randy Giroux, is going to be on the outside of row number 4, starting 8th and then 9th on the grid. All on his lonesome in that last row is going to be the 71 of Liam Daniels. So they're getting that warm-up lap in, and then we are going to go to the green flag for the first heat race of the evening. 8 laps on the docket for these guys to try to get, well, at least a good starting spot for 117 laps, which you may not necessarily need, but would definitely help. So, Jonathan, we're going to hand it over. And, I guess not. The lights are out on the pace truck, but we are going to have one more lap around before we go green. So this will give us some time to maybe talk quickly, talk about what we're expecting to see out of this first heat race, Jonathan. The track isn't cleaned off yet. It's still going to be tacky, and we got 9 thundering cars that are going to be starting very close together.
Something I wanted to point out, Joe, is just that we are doing this small block versus big block challenge this year, and one of the drivers in this first heat, Liam Daniels, who's starting a tail on the field, is in a 358 tonight, so got to keep an eye on those guys, see how they do. There's 6 drivers total in the field in our feature, expected to be there and expected to make the call, who are going to be starting at 358. But the pace truck is in, lights are out, Flag is up, pedals are down, and away we go. And good side-by-side battle through the first corners here as Bardsley trying to take the lead on the outside and into 3 and 4. Keeps that 11 car pinched in the middle of the racetrack. Sider fighting back on the inside in the 84. They're still side-by-side as they complete lap 1.
And through 1 and 2 again, they're going to go. Bardsley with a little bit of momentum on the top side. He will get back around that number 8-4 car, and he will take the lead to the line again. A quarter of the way into this one, Jeff Sharp, Dave DiPetro, Josh Ambowski, they all go single file behind this great race for the lead.
Josh Ambowski, another one of those guys running in 3:58 tonight, trying to knock off one of those small block races early in this one at Volusia. And still we got a side-by-side battle for the lead as Bardsley hanging on to it from the outside is once again going to clear the 84, but that 084 fights back again on the inside. Here comes Sider trying to get some room underneath, not able to get alongside down the back straightaway. He'll have another run into 3 and 4.
Sider looking again. Everybody's kind of gone single file behind him besides that race between Ryan Susi and Josh Ambowski for 5th place as we get down closer to halfway through this heat. And Bardsley is kind of controlling things as now he's got a lot better control as they come into 3 and 4 again. Sider trying to find a little extra grip lower on the racetrack. Not going to go this time. Bardsley leads by again. They've gone single file back to, well, now to 5th place. And we got a nice little race with DeRitter and Drew going on for 6th here.
Dr. Randy Giroux last week on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast. And one of the things that he said he was not good at, iRacing. I mean, the guy is a great mechanic. He's a great driver, whether he'd be competing locally at Merrittville Speedway or out on the road in a UMP modified. But I like that he's elected to run his throwback to himself. That Randy Giroux 24, that purple and white mod light scheme we're so used to seeing at Merrittville Speedway, and we definitely missed this year as he coming under fire again now at the back of the pack.
Yeah, so the white flag's going to come out. Josh Ambowski and Giroux getting all sorts of woed up together here at the end of it as Zach Bardsley leads Sider in. Man, Dan Sider sent it in there to the corner. Not going to go, though, as Zach Bardsley's going to be able to come across and take the first heat race win of the season. Good stuff from that throwback at the front with Sider and Sharp running right behind him. We'll try to get a quick word with Bardsley here. I'm going to hand him over to you, Jonathan, and we'll see what he has to say about his run in the first heat race of the season.
All right, Zach Bardsley joins us now. And Bardsley, I gotta ask you, you were under fire there from Sider for pretty much all of that race. You kept moving down further and further. Did the bottom come to you, or was that more of a defensive move to hold on to the lead?
Well, I started in the middle just to try to give him room initially, but as the laps went down, I was like, I need to start taking his line away so I don't lose this. And just started working my way down just to keep him behind me because I knew there wasn't really anything in the middle or up top. So awesome. I knew if I could keep him off the bottom, I'd be good.
Yeah, it was a good strategy. It paid off for you, collecting $8 for the win. Just quickly, if you could, just quickly tell us about your throwback that you're running tonight for those who might not know.
Yeah, so it's a throwback to my uncle's 2004 car we ran weekly at Bridgeport Speedway. My uncle Bob Lyman Jr. And I might be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it was his first car that he ran on a weekly basis in the big cars, that is. And just did it mainly for the family reasons and also the car number matches. Awesome.
Well, it's an excellent scheme. We appreciate you coming out. Congratulations on the heat win, first heat win of the 2022-23 season, and good luck tonight in the 117 lapper.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Well, that was good interview. Yep, there we go. We'll get that squared away. I will go ahead and bring in the starting grid for heat race number 2 as we get ready to send them racing. Gavin Isley is going to be leading us off. The gas man in the car number 18, Tyler Pachalski, going to be starting to his outside, driving the 21P out of Ontario. Starting in 3rd place is the thriller, Travis Miller, a guy who's known to be winning races and trying to win championships in this series. He will start to the inside of the reigning champion, Brandon Plank, in the 77X. Brian Berger will start 5th in the 60 car on the inside of another 84. This is Ryan Beagle, the big dog. Adam Hilton will start on the inside of row number 4 in car number 3A, and to his outside is going to be Dylan Davidson, a.k.a. Double D, running a Pete Cosco Memorial throwback this evening. Pat Reiser will be running in his own car number 8 throwback. He will start all on his lonesome shotgun in row number 5.
And another one to point out in this field, Hilton is running the 358 in this heat. So we'll see how he can manage. Obviously had no problems in the qualifying as we are underway in this one. Good action into corner 1 and 2. Ooh, a little bit sideways there, some contact. This is going to make it a 3-car battle for the lead on the opening lap, maybe even more, as they are 3 by 3, multiple rows deep on the first lap.
Yeah, and that was a heck of a way to start heat race number 2. Isley kind of got caught out, and Brandon Plank jumps up to the front. Brandon's running a throwback. He's car number 51 out there on the track, and he's running a throwback to Mike Colston. He's taking it to the front, making a good charge with it as Gavin Isley runs second to him, and Pachalski's got his own throwback number 3 car, the slack car, in there, as well as Dylan Davidson in that throwback. We mentioned the Pete Cosco car. 3 laps down, they're still racing for that front lead spot. Brandon Plank and Gavin Isley. Now Isley going to play catfish. Man, that momentum just went out the door.
Yeah, it really appears like the middle groove has some speed, at least early on in the run, and then maybe you want to start to cover off that bottom. That's what we learned in Heat 1, and it looks to be something similar in this one. And also have to point out the big dog, Ryan Beagle, went for a wild ride. I think that was on maybe the second lap there, and brushed the wall actually a little bit, and he's dropped all the way to the back of the pack, so he's going to have some work to do to get back up into the fight and maybe give himself a better starting position. But tough break for the big dog early in this one.
Yeah, Ryan Beagle's definitely somebody who can turn things around by the end of the night, and we have plenty of laps for him to do it in that feature, but it's not going to be anything less than an uphill battle for him. So we'll come back to the line again. 2 to go for Brandon Plank now, who's put a huge gap in between himself and the number scored as 21, but it is a number 3 car. Tyler Pachalski's gotten around the gas man, and he will hold station on second place as we come into 3 and 4 again. The white flag's going to come out for Brandon Plank. Nice little battle here for second as we get it. Half mile to go.
Pachalski trying to hang on to that position. Under fire, rocking the slack colors tonight. Love to see that as a Southern Ontario guy. Of course, that 3RF got to victory lane at Maryville with Dalton Slack behind the wheel, but now Tyler Pachalski trying to represent it well as Plank's going to take the checkered. Pachalski will hang on for second position. What a battle there at the end, though. He definitely had to work for that one over Isley. And how about Double D? Dylan Davidson brings it home 4th.
Yeah, Dylan Davidson is going to get the final spot in what was the second heat race of the evening. We can try to grab Brandon Plank quick and see what he has to say. Jonathan should be pretty happy with that finish in the heat race.
Yeah, Brendan Plank joining us now. Brendan, talk to us about that drive and coming out of the gate hot in this one.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with the leaders there. I saw that the 3-car got kind of stood up and just tried to kind of roll around them the best I could without touching anybody, and just caught a good break. So we'll take it.
How much confidence are you having heading into the 117 lap? I know it's going to be one of our longer races of the year. Just talk to us about that grind of racing through 117 laps and where your confidence level is after a heat win.
Yeah, to be honest, I was a little bit worried after qualifying, and it's nice to get a heat win, and yeah, just got to try to stay out of trouble in the future, and yeah, it's going to get slick, and just got to try to keep the car underneath us and go from there. So I guess confidence, I don't know if it's high. I haven't been racing very much, but we're going to give it our best.
And just quickly, if you could tell us about your what your throwback scheme is for tonight.
Yeah, so it's a Mike Colston tribute car. Mike was a good friend of ours and customer of ours. Last couple of years of his racing career, and really excited to run this scheme tonight.
Awesome! Congratulations on the heat win, and we'll see you come feature time up towards the front.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that was a great interview with the reigning champion and now reigning winner of the second heat race of the evening. Third heat race is going to start to set sail, and we're going to start on the inside of row number 1 with Joe Matthews on the pole. To his outside, representing Pennsylvania, is going to be the RockAuto.com icon number 49 of Dean Meitzler. Starting inside row number 2, he's running a throwback of his own to Brad Rouse in 2008, Jamie Porter, a.k.a. The Pistol. Dean Reynolds going to be starting to his outside in car number 79, running a throwback as well. This one to Roger Horvath, best in show and super dirt car back in the 90s. The Beef, Corby Daniels, starts on the inside of row number 3. Alan Slight in the Slight Electrical Machine on the 6th starting spot. Cody Higbee and Travis Cunningham, your co-host of the Southern Ontario Dirt Show, starting shotgun on the field, Jonathan.
Yeah, we'll see what Travis has got. Again, just to remind everybody, Higby and Slate, the cars in this heat that are going to have the 358 power behind them. See if they can advance as the pace truck pulls in. Flag is up, pedals are down, away we go. Heat number 3, and it's a great jump for the 9 of Matthews out front. And it looks like the Rouse, that tribute car, looking really sharp on the bottom side. That's Jamie Porter already trying to pass into second. Porter working over. Oh, a little bit of contact there, actually, with the 45. One car sideways. Or excuse me, that is the 49, the Meitzler that went sideways there, and he'll drop to the back of the pack. So already a pretty hotly contested heat.
Yeah, that's a tough break for Meitzler. We know him as somebody who's he has his fair share of front-running nights and running at the rear. And unfortunately, this is going to set him up to start, at least from the back of the field. A little bit of contact there running for position. Joe Matthews holds on to the lead, though. Jamie Porter and Dean Reynolds putting 2 throwback cars in a nice little battle behind him for second place. They come through 3 and 4 again, and they're mostly spaced out except now for Corby Daniels, who's trying to catch a little bit of that 79's rear end and not really getting anywhere, but not losing any time down the backstretch.
Porter, the first driver I've seen that's really started to explore the high side of the racetrack, as he found a little bit of speed and has actually closed in on our leader Matthews. Now they're side by side, and Porter, look how sideways he is down on the bottom, and that actually costs him some time as Matthew drives back around, and Matthews is going to lead him into 3 and 4. Porter in the tire tracks, and this is becoming quickly a 4-car battle at the front as Porter goes back to the high side through 1 and 2 and is trying to find a way by our leader Matthews.
Yeah, Porter's looking to the high side, looking to the low side. It has kind of brought Dean Reynolds and Corby Daniels back into the picture. Man, turn 4. Jamie Porter can hit turn 4 so well. 2 laps to go now as he takes a stab at the lead in the inside of 1 and 2. It's not going to go there. Matthews going to carry the momentum and get back out in front of him. Dean Reynolds and Corby Daniels just watching this show go on. White flag going to come out this time. Matthews leads them, and they're all back nose to tail to nose to tail to nose to tail.
And once again, Porter looking to the outside. Maybe a little bit of contact there. You can see the car bouncing around. That should help Matthews get a little bit of advantage as now Porter's going to dive back to the inside. Through 1 and 2, he's not as good on that bottom side, but out of 3 and 4, he gets a decent drive. Not enough, though. Matthews will hang on, and he wins it over Porter. And then Reynolds brings it home third. Excuse me, it looks like Daniels. I think Corby got him at the stripe. Corby Daniels, the beef, brings it home third.
Yes, he did, and we'll try to bring Joe Matthews down and hand him over to you, Jonathan, as he's going to be pretty happy to get that. He didn't get a ton of heat wins last season, but he got a couple, and he starts off the season right tonight.
Starting off the season right indeed, joined now by Matthews, the driver, that number 9. And I wanted to talk about that, holding off that challenge. This is the first time we really saw anybody explore the high side of the racetrack with Jamie Porter right on your tail, looking to the outside, looking low. Just talk to us about having to hold off Porter.
Jamie's a good runner, just tried to hit my marks and not make any mistakes.
Joe Matthews wins heat number 3. Joe, talk to us about what you were feeling in the car, though. It seems like whoever has been able to get out front early in this one has been able to hang on to it. How did it feel out front?
I felt decent, just trying to figure out, where you need to be on the racetrack to make the quickest laps.
And over the course of 117 laps in the feature time, how much are you expecting the racetrack to really change tonight?
I think it'll slicken right up, and it'll be interesting to see if the small blocks kind of make their way through at the end.
That's a good point, good insight. Thanks for joining us, Joe, and congrats on the heat win early in the season.
Thanks, guys.
Well, he's got a good first name, and he's also got a heat win to his name. And I couldn't think of any better way to start off the season if your name's Joe. That was a nice run for him, but also we got to give credit to Corby Daniels for that great run at the end to make the 3rd spot. And so those will get points to the beef. He's going to get 2 points out of that. So in the championship standings, the winner of each heat race is going to get 4 points, and then 3 for second, 2 for third, and 1 for 4th place. And that's going to carry on throughout the entirety of the season. So Joe Matthews rocked himself 4 points as aside of him, Brandon Plank and Zach Bardsley did before him. And then Jamie Porter getting 3 in that last one. Beef with 2 and 1 for Dean Reynolds. Great way to start off this season. And when we speak about the season, we can speak about the schedule quickly because we've got a couple minutes here of downtime before the feature is going to get underway. The drivers are going to get caught up and prepared for 117 laps of action. They're going to give us a quick second to get on this broadcast ready to go for 117 laps of excitement. But to get to that point, Jonathan, we can take a quick moment and look at the upcoming, what we've got coming for the schedule of this series to come after tonight's over.
Yeah, it looks like I think it's going to be an awesome schedule. I mean, we're heading to Lernerville next for the RKR West Penn 60. So right from 117 laps down to 60 laps. And then, of course, right back up to another kind of long-distance race at I-55 on the 28th. And we also have Knoxville coming up, Weedsport, and Lanier. Before we take a little Christmas, New Year's break, of course, the Weedsport race is the Dig Racing Products 75, and Lanier brought to us by MDR Designs with a 100-lapper there.
Yeah, and then we're going to take two off weeks for the holidays. We're going to go over to the Southern Ontario Dirt Show 75 at Port Royal, which is kind of the best of both worlds for the two of us with your podcast at one of my home tracks. And then we'll go to Cedar Lake, Williams Grove, the 47 Technology Cyber Nationals, then the Gary Cunningham Memorial, another presented by Southern Ontario Dirt Show at Weedsport. We go to Lucas Oil, we go to Limaland, we go to Port Royal, we go back to Charlotte for the Fast Lane Landscaping 75, then Lernerville, Volusia, Fairbury, Knoxville, Eldora, and then Champions Night at Charlotte. And that is going to be a heck of a road. And like you've been mentioning, Jonathan, these guys are going to have to run small blocks a couple times this season. Maybe talk about what the restrictions and rules are about that setup.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of guys are saving their small block stuff for some of the smaller tracks out there on the schedule. Tonight I think we've already heard that the small blocks could pay off over the course of a long run with the slickness of it. I'm interested to see just how these guys space it out. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it it's eight that everybody has to have?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
8 races with the small blocks. So somewhere along the way, I feel like somebody's going to have to run a small block at one of the bigger racetracks. And where do you pick it? Where's your opportunity to do something like that? I wonder if you save them all for the long distance stuff. I look at that Williams Grove race with it only being 47 laps. That's interesting to me. How would the small block play out in such a short distance? I feel like maybe everybody's going to bring a big block to that one. Lots of strategy. It's something that I've been talking to drivers about and seeing where they're going to do it. And some guys, they just want to pick and choose depending on the night. And all I know is I would make sure that I get all those small blocks out before we hit maybe I want to have them wrapped up by mid-March, I think. You want to have it wrapped up by Fairbury, maybe at the latest.
Absolutely. I would agree with that 100%. And to the point on that season, be sure there are still sponsor opportunities available for the races that are not already taken. You can reach out to us here at BRPtv or to Corby Daniels, Matt DeRitter, if you want to learn more about those opportunities. And speaking of opportunities, finally, Jonathan, we've gotten our opportunity to run through the starting grid for the Pete Cosco Memorial here at Volusia Speedway. We will start them off with the front row. I'm talking Zach Bardsley in car number 11. He won the first heat race. He will start from the front here. Brandon Plank won his heat race. He will start second in the number 77X. Joe Matthews will start third, and Dan Sider will start to his outside. Row number 3 on the inside is Tyler Pachalski and the Pistol Jamie Porter in 6th starting spot. In 7th is Jeff Sharp, 8th place for the Gasman Gavin Isley, and then rounding out the top 10 on the starting grid is going to be the Beef Corby Daniels and Dave DiPetro. Starting in the next row behind them, it's not going to come up here, we are going to see Dylan Davidson and Dean Reynolds in row 6, then Ryan Susi and Travis Miller, Alan Slight, Matt DeRitter, Brian Berger, Cody Higbee, Tyler Joshimbowski, Pat Reiser, they're row 10. Then we've got Travis Cunningham, Randy Giroux, Adam Hilton, Dean Meitzler, Liam Daniels, and Ryan Beagle. That's the 26 Gladiators who will be taking to the track for 117 laps of action. Jonathan, it's lined up. How do you approach turn 1?
Well, I think if you're Bardsley, it's a race to the middle. If you're Plank, maybe you push to the outside, but I wouldn't want to wash too far up to the racetrack. So I'm going to try to maybe pinch down that 11 car, make him use the inside line, and then maybe I can use some of that grip that we've seen in the middle. take off and take the lead. And if I'm Matthews, maybe they're in the 9. If I'm Cider, just watching to see if a hole opens up and maybe I can get both of them early on in this one as the pace truck is in. And we are going green here. Flag is up, pedals are down. Away we go. What a jump from the 11. And it's Matthews who gets a great jump on the inside as well as the Plank machine falls back to 3rd and maybe even to 4th now as Cider's looking to the inside in that 084 ride. Bardsley leads Matthews. And here comes Plank on the outside now trying to take that 2nd position back. He will do so. And Bardsley leads lap 1.
Zach Bardsley gets alone out at the front, and it goes single file behind him now with Plank and Matthews. Blue and white's the right color scheme to be running in this race tonight because they've got the top 4 spots almost locked up. The Insider now holds on to 4th with Tyler Pachalski racing him for that spot. Isley passes Porter a little bit behind. He is running a catfish line, and there's a lot of movement in the mid-pack, but everybody seems to be getting their way pretty smooth, which is nice to see because we got 117 laps. There's plenty of time to try to make moves, and you can't end your race this early.
Bardsley looks to the outside and slide job from Matthews. Look at the crossover move though by the 11. Bardsley goes back to the inside and he'll try to take the lead into 3 and 4. Good battle here at the front. Or excuse me, that was Plank, not Matthews making the move. Looking at the front of the field here. Plank falling back. Bardsley up front. Matthews under fire there. There's one car on the wall. That's the 084 of Cider. Cider in the wall. And that, I believe, should bring out the caution.
Dance.
Oh, it looks like he's going to get it going.
It's a single car incident, and I think he got it underway enough. Corby Daniels, something must have happened to the beef as well. So Cider, there is no yellow out on the track as we speak, and it is now coming out. So there's the yellow flag, and that was the first incident of the night and the first incident of the season, at least that we caught here. It was unfortunately going to go to the number 84 of Dan Cider. We'll see if we can pull up a replay of what happened to this guy here and talk us through it, Jonathan.
Well, you can see him entering on the high side here, and a lot of drivers are actually exploring that high side early in this one, which is something I didn't really expect. Seems to be all alone, and then, oh, yep, Matthews slides up, little bit of contact, and that just takes him right up into the wall, and just a little kiss, but bounces him off and spins him out and brings us out under yellow. I'm not sure what happened to the beef. I was wondering if maybe the beef got a piece of this later, if he was trying to avoid it, and that slowed him up. But maybe he had his problems maybe before this, as you can kind of see it. Yeah, he's out on his own. So, yeah, just a little bit of contact between front runners, between Matthews and the 084 of Cider.
Yeah.
Just a racing deal.
Yeah, I would call that a racing deal. I think that's a fair assessment. I mean, Matthews trying to get through that slick stuff, which we can start to see that coming together, Jonathan, in the middle of the racetrack. And, I mean, it's hard to run these cars and keep them on the very bottom. I mean, even when you talk about sprint cars, which are much smaller and lighter machines, they're even difficult to keep on the low side once it starts slicking in. Here at Volusia, it slicks in. You get barely a lane at the bottom. So they're definitely going to be struggling to kind of keep a hold of the cars once the track starts working in, especially in that entry area in the middle of the track. And might have just caught out Joe Matthews a little early in this race. They're going double file, which means we're going to go back to green flag this time by. Bardsley has led the whole way so far with Plank to his outside. That's going to be a good battle when they come back to green, and we will be watching it, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'm watching that number 9 car of Matthews. Got a great restart that last time, mixed it up at the front. And relatively, we have a new player up there is the Tyler Pachalski in the slack car tonight. Green flag back in the air. Bardsley gets a great jump. Plank also there. Matthews trying another slide job. Not going to have the room to pull it off, and he might actually come under fire for that 4th spot as there's a challenge there. Now we also have a challenge for the lead as Plank cuts to the inside, trying to find a way around Bardsley on this lap, but Bardsley hangs on to lead another one.
Man, and the cut going on for Brandon Plank is just huge. Out of turn number 4, he was right down to the bottom of the inside wall. He's getting a pretty good run into the corners, but it's the middle where he slides through the slick stuff that things start falling apart for him. And now Tyler Pachalski's going to put a little bit of pressure on the 51 car. On the inside, he tries to stay low, and we are under yellow again. We are going to go check. I think this is for Liam Daniels, and it is the number 71 car backwards in turn number 4. We'll get a replay back here to see what we've got on the 71 car, and we'll try to find him.
Yeah, but this one definitely was out of our view as we were watching the front of the field here, and Liam Daniels appeared to be a single car incident.
Yeah, I don't
So
think
not-
we're going to get a replay of this, unfortunately. Sometimes iRacing just things don't work out that we can get replays on what happens to some of these guys, and I think, unfortunately, I mean, we can see the damage on the front of the number 71 machine. That car is in not the best of shape. We're on board with him now. You can't really see the damage from here. I mean, you can kind of tell that the front end's gone from that car.
Yeah, it definitely appears like maybe left front mostly is where the damage is. Even from this camera angle, you can kind of see the car not having the stability that it might have. Tough break for him. Going to be a long 117 laps if that car is heavily damaged. But I think attrition will probably play into this at some point. You have to think, right, Joe?
Oh, absolutely, I agree with that. I think that attrition's going to be, especially once we get the track slicked off and we get more towards the ending of this race, because these guys are going to start getting a little bit more antsy about the way things are going when the race is starting to come to a close. I mean, we've still got more than 100 laps left in this race, so there's plenty of time for things to happen. Everybody's going to kind of keep their cool for a little while, and then it's going to get a little bit more hectic. And I think one of the big contributing factors to that craziness is going to be these restarts, and we'll have to see as the race goes on, when the single file restarts come into play. But for the moment, I mean, they're all going to be double file, Jonathan. That's going to make a huge difference when they go back to green every time.
Yeah, definitely. This is where, if you're in the booth calling a race and you have the race director in the booth like I do at Maryville Speedway, this is where they're starting to tell them, okay, drivers, mind your P's and Q's. It's early. We got a long way to go. Maybe give each other a couple more breaks that you might not do in the final 30 to 40 laps of this one. Green flag back in the air, and another great jump by the 11 of Bardsley. Looking to the outside, Plank trying to find a way by. And look at the move from Pachalski. That got a little wild there, but he's actually going to drop back. It seems like through 1 and 2 especially, the bottom side is not working as well as it is through 3 and 4, as Bardsley will continue to lead. And now we've got Plank, and Isley has made his way up to the front, as Isley now runs in the 3rd spot, still under fire there from the 3 car of Pachalski, who normally is the 21P, but looks like the bottom side, really not working out for these guys early in this one.
No, it's not really seeming that way. Pachalski slides in deep there in turn number 1. Dylan Davidson, the grandson of Pete Cosco, going to come right back up the inside in the 73 car. Joe Matthews, who was at the front before, he is now going to make his nose shown to Pachalski. They're going to run single file down the front straightaway again. We're going to be 20 laps into this race. If the big minder is that the caution laps have been counting so far, so we haven't been waiting on these laps. Some of them have been under yellow, and well, it looks like Pachalski's not going to be getting any more momentum off the bottom side than he tried to get. And unfortunately for his sake, Matthews is going to try to get a big slider in here and feeds him a little bit of a right rear. Up and over into the fluff goes Pachalski to avoid it. And Jamie Porter's going to go 2 for 1 into turn 3.
Yeah, Porter really took advantage of that as he slides up in front. And now he'll come back under fire from the 9 and the 3 RS there. That is a tight battle for around, I'm going to say 6th, 7th, 8th, if I have my numbers correct here. Maybe even 5th position, actually. Excuse me. Matthews up to 5th inside the top 5. He is comfortably there now. Porter trying to battle with Pachalski as we've got another yellow out on the racetrack. Another incident early in this one as we're working lap 22.
And this one is going to go to Tyler Joshambowski in the 88T, scored as the 088. He's going to reset to the grid. Let's see. We might be able to catch. Oh, yeah, we're going to catch a replay on this one of what's gone on to Tyler Joshambowski here. Jonathan, he gets up. I mean, he ends up on his lid. Let's see how it happens.
Well, you see DeRitter underneath in the 0-3. It looks like he's going to slide up, make contact, and that's just going to bounce Joshambowski up the racetrack. Looks okay here, and then he'll bounce it off the front stretch wall on the outside, gets it sideways, and then from there it's on. The car just starts to tumble down the front stretch. Pretty wild action there and a wild ride from Joshambowski. And oh, wow, right in front of more cars in the field. I think that was Giroux who got a piece of him. Liam Daniels narrowly misses him. Wow. That could have been really bad. Another car, I think that's Cunningham. Travis looks like he got a piece of it, and somebody else gets a piece of Travis. So that was more than just a one-car incident. That really got wild there for the back half of the field who had to navigate that one.
Yeah, we'll see it again watching Cunningham and Giroux come through here. So, like Jonathan mentioned, Josh Mbowski in the front stretch area, just things aren't going right. Giroux and Cunningham slight contact to avoid him. Unfortunately, Cunningham gets turned around by Meitzler, who's trying to do just as much wreck avoidance as the 90 car. And then the Beef, who got all the way through to the end of where the incident was happening. Unfortunately, that 90 car was just stuck in his way, to no fault of either of the drivers. Contact made at the back end of this one, part of what is our next yellow. We've got a couple of them in a row now. Cautions do breed cautions. We're going to go back to green this time, though, Jonathan. Maybe we'll get a little bit longer run before we have the next one.
Tight confounds, a big field of race cars here at Volusia tonight. Pace Truck is making his way back into the infield, and the 11 on it again with another great restart. And Isley's going to make a challenge for second now underneath Plank as they work into 1 and 2. Around the outside, looks like Plank's going to be able to hold the position. Isley staying even with him, though. He has maybe the best run through 1 and 2 that we've seen in this race. And the big thing, too, is Isley's not making the slide job up in the middle of the corner. It's like his car is really rotating through the center of the corner as we see, Bardsley goes way up the racetrack, and now Plank's going to go for the lead down the back straightaway.
We have a pass for the race lead. Brandon Plank has made it back. Will Bardsley go crossover out of turn number 4? He's going to make an attempt at it. Mentioned that Gavin Isley is running on the bottom side and staying down there. We think we've got trouble going on behind him. A couple guys at the rear of the field. Yes, we do, I believe, have a yellow coming out, and this one's going to be for Dan Sider. He was fastest in qualifying, and Cody Higbee involved, Liam Daniels involved too. Another yellow right quick after the last one. And for Cody Higbee, especially a late entry into this series, the last person to get through into the 30 driver cutoff. Him and Liam, they're going to get caught up in yet another incident here onto track.
And I don't want to point this out, Joe, but if you look at who is running small blocks tonight, Josh Mbowski, Higbee, Liam Daniels, DeRitter had some issues. So it's been a bit of a curse to be running a small block tonight as we get a replay of this incident here. Looks like the field pretty spread out as they work down the back straightaway. And there you can see Sider on the bottom side. Looks like he's going to get maybe a little help from the rear end of the 97. Yep, there it is. There's a little bit of contact there. And that is going to turn Sider, Higbee involved. Of course, he's the one who tags him. And 2 other cars get a piece of that as well. Tough break for Liam Daniels, who gets involved.
Yep, Adam Hilton and Liam Daniels.
Adam Hilton.
Yep, the other 2 guys here. We'll catch it one more time. Maybe we'll even try an onboard with Hilton. You're going to see the love tap happen in front of him. There's Higbee, and Sider's got the red frame. There's where Sider gets sideways, and the 97, I mean, you can't, absolutely nothing.
There's nowhere to go.
Yeah, Hilton's just along for the ride at that point, and he's going to get into the 97, which, by the way, I'm just going to make a quick shout-out. That car looks absolutely sick. That's a beautiful livery on that car. Unfortunately, he got into the wall and put some damage on it, but Hilton, not major damage, but definitely not a good way to start the night or to end the night or to have it all in your night. But Adam, I think probably out of the 4 of them, I would say he probably got the shortest amount of damage, and he's even still going to be on the pit lane now.
Yeah, definitely a hard hit, right? Like when the car bounces around like that, you know you're in trouble. As we go back racing now, green flag is back out, and Plank gets away with a great jump. Seems like whoever is the leader really has been able to get the jump and drive off with the lead early on for the first lap. Bardsley hanging tough on the outside there. You can see Isley working in that high line. Dylan Davidson running in the middle of the racetrack, and now he's gone up. Everybody's starting to push the cushion a little bit through the corners, and a bit of a freight train at the front.
Yeah, it has started to become a freight train. I think the top side is definitely going to be the way to go, and everybody's starting to notice that there really isn't much competition going on with that bottom line at the moment. Jamie Porter, though, I will say that's getting a little bit spicy back there with Joe Matthews. Now they're 3 wide for position. Porter, Matthews, and Pachalski sliding through 3 and 4. They are 3 wide in and out of that set of turns, and they will stay that way into turn number 1. So the leaders all running to the top side of the racetrack, which is the dominant line right now. And now we're starting to see how dominant it is. Porter's kind of not able to hold his own, really. with Pachalski, Matthews, and that's Jeff Sharp in the 28 car behind him. They're making some good time up.
Yeah, the only driver I've really seen who I've liked what I've seen it from that bottom lane has been Isley, and even Isley's decided he's just going to ride in line, not push it too far. But Porter gets a good run that time, and another yellow. We're under yellow once again. It looks like Meitzler, or no, excuse me, there's a whole bunch of cars piled up in this one. I think Liam Daniels got a piece of it. Higbee, yeah, just another tough incident that looks like at the back of the pack. We'll get a replay and see if we can sort this one out.
Yeah, so Higbee here going down the back straightaway, just involved in the crash before this one. And Josh Mbowski's behind him. Meitzler's in front of him. Cunningham, Sider, there's the beef on the inside. So they come through 4, and we will await what happens here as they come. Oh, actually, this is happening way out in front. Pat Reiser.
Yeah, they're already wrecking. It was Reiser and Meitzler that started this all off. They came together. And wow, one car goes for a wild ride. That's Higbee flipping up in the air. Was it 6, maybe 7 cars involved in this one? And yeah, that all started with Meitzler. It looks like he maybe just washed up, or excuse me, that was Reiser, I think, that washed up into Meitzler. I believe that's how this all got started. See if we can get a better look at it here. As they're 4 wide coming up off of 4. Giroux gets out of the way, and just Meisner or that 49 of Meitzler just gets together. And just cars just piling in. Tough to be at the back of the pack tonight.
Yeah, you did call that, Jonathan, just a little bit up the racetrack, unfortunately, Reiser and Meitzler, and it is hard to be at the back. I mean, anytime you're starting at the back and you have restarts, it's going to give you an opportunity to the other guys around you to cause something that could take you out of contention or at least give you some damage. And unfortunately for the guys at the back, and I mean, I'm specifically looking at guys like Reiser Hilton and Dean Meitzler, and I think most of all Cody Higbee, because he's been caught up in the last 2 of them. And unfortunately, I mean, there's really nothing you can do at the end of that. But they'll go double file again. We are 38 laps into the Pete Cosco Memorial tonight, and the field is back in control. Brandon Plank for the green.
Getting ready to come back racing. Plank got the jump last time. Bardsley's been great on the exit on the restarts here as we're back racing. And look at Isley go to the inside this time, making the move from the 3rd position, maybe challenging for 2nd here. Good run from the 11 of Bardsley, but nowhere to go as he's got a full bumper full of our leader Plank in front of him. 3 cars trying to break away from this field. Plank still leads. Bardsley up high, Isley down low. Pachalski and Davidson, your top 5.
Yeah, and Isley is playing catfish again. He's the guy. We see he's pretty much the one guy who's the best at running on the low side right now. Brandon Plank's still leading, though, as Bardsley's going to be searching up into the fluff even to try to find a little bit of extra grip with that 11 car. It's not quite going, and he's going to fall to the wayside of 3rd place as back to the 2nd spot will go Gavin Isley. And I think that's just going to maybe show that the bottom's starting to get close to being competitive again, which...
You can see other drivers trying it. For sure, Travis Miller is down there working it. Jamie Porter is also down there trying to make something happen. But as more cars line up on the outside, it looks like maybe only Isley... Oh, maybe a bit of contact there. I'm not sure if Isley and Bardsley didn't just get together on the front stretch. If they didn't, they came awfully close. As Isley continues to work that bottom side, Joe.
Yeah, Gavin is the one guy down there trying to make it work at the front with Jamie Porter now jumping in line behind him. And I think that was Ryan Susi a little further back in the order. No, that wasn't Ryan Susi. We'll have to double check who that is back there with them. But Jeff Sharp up at the top back there as well. Dylan Davidson. Jamie Porter's on the bottom. Pachalski's still in the mix here. And things are starting to really shape up for Brandon Plank. He's got a couple car lengths lead now.
Well, he's loving what he's seeing at the back, right? Of course, with Isley continuing to work over Bardsley for 2nd, those 2 cars are going to be slower battling against each other than if they were to just get in line and try to turn some quick laps and try to reel in Plank. Plank taking advantage of this battling that is happening throughout the field to really start to drive off. And the one thing you have to think about with this many cars, with some damaged vehicles as well, is if we get a long green flag run, there will be lap traffic at some point in this on this racetrack.
Absolutely, there will be. As they're looking, wow, Pachalski really was about to go for it. A little shot in the shorts from Double D behind him. but he almost got 2 for 1 out of turn number 4. He's gripped up in the middle for some reason. Isley and Barsley couldn't get the runs on him as they come back around again to the front stretch. Isley still oh, the yellow flag's coming back out. We got a yellow flag. I think, I don't know who this is for. Is it Cody Higbee? It is. Oh, man. That's tough. Cody Higbee.
Another tough break.
Yeah, that's going to be the number 97 again, and we'll try to see if we can figure out what goes on with this car here. He's going to be following Liam Daniels. Him and Josh Mbowski on the bottom. They've both got a significant amount of damage on these cars. Liam's actually in the clear. He's running back there with them. Note he is driving a 358 small block tonight, so he's getting that one out of the way. And Higbee, I think we're okay up to this point. So,
yeah, all 3 of these drivers actually in small blocks tonight. And yeah, like you say, nothing obvious here yet from Higbee as they continue into 3 and 4. He's on the low side.
Yeah, we've got a yellow by this point now, so that is not the cause of the yellow, but that was the only car slow when the yellow came out. So we'll wonder if timing, maybe our race control will give us a quick insight as to why we went to the caution, because there really wasn't any reason. I saw at least auto on the track. I don't know if you, Jonathan, think of anything. We're not quite halfway, but we're getting pretty close.
I was so caught up with our front battle. I mean, we had Pacholski sailing it in, trying the middle groove. Reiser was down on the, or Isley, excuse me, was down on the inside line. Plank upstairs. Now, what do they do on this restart? Is Isley's going to be on the outside, where he hasn't not necessarily made no ground on the outside, but definitely the place to be for him so far has been on the inside. And Plank's going to have Bardsley behind him. A lot of hungry drivers chasing who everybody, I guess the man that everybody knows is the class of the field and Plank. They don't want to let this guy get a win too early in the season. Green flag back in the air. Isley working the outside. Plank running the middle groove. Can't quite clear Isley. Isley's going to get a run around the outside through 1 and 2, and down into the backstretch. He's going to clear Plank. And look at Dylan Davidson making the move on the inside. Great racing as we are back under green, and we have a new leader. The contact there. I believe Davidson and Pacholski get together. Pacholski slammed into the wall. This could get real ugly. I think Beef got a piece of it. Wow. Tight racing at the front of the field and throughout the pack.
I thought Beef was going to lose it. He did a great job of keeping control of that car. Unfortunately for him, he's going to lose a lot of time. But how about Gavin Isley back up into the race lead now, as he will lead the number 77 on the timing scoreboard. The 51 behind him, Zach Bardsley, Dylan Davidson, Jamie Porter. Besides Isley, well, we got a yellow again. I was about to say, besides Isley, it seems like a good night to pull out a throwback, because the guys who really brought the A-game throwbacks are the ones up at the front. And I think we're figuring out what's going on back here, and I don't know what happened.
I'm not 100% sure, but I think out of the corner of my eye, just out of that one view that we had, I think it was actually Pacholski who, I'm not sure if somebody tried to clear him and they weren't clear and he got the worst of it, or if he was trying to make a move and it didn't, maybe ran out of room, but I think that caution might have been at least involving Tyler Pacholski.
Yeah, I think you might be right here. So we'll pull back the replay, and we're watching Pacholski's going around the outside of Joe Matthews down the front stretch, and Matthews is going to send it in. That's Ryan Beagle behind them in the 84, and this is where I think Joe Matthews is going to slide up the racetrack. He's going to try to slide job. Pacholski, the contact's going to be here. Whoa.
Yeah, there it is.
Nice eyes, Jonathan. You caught that, and oh, I can see why this is, well, there's contact. There's a couple of them piling in. There's Berger sideways. And, oh, Ryan Susi. Ooh. Yep, that's the yellow right there. Ryan Susi's backwards on the backstretch.
Yeah, it's one of those third man in, or at least in this case, probably more like fourth or fifth man in, gets the worst of that stack up when Matthews and I almost called him Dalton Slack, but Tyler Pacholski running the Slack car tonight for the throwback. Pacholski, yeah, I don't even think again, it was another one of those racing deals. Maybe you could say that Matthews should have cut him a break, but we're almost halfway through this thing. There's not many breaks left to give, especially with how competitive the front of the field is. As we get ready to go back green here, Joe. Great jump from Isley. He's going to clear right to the lead. Plank got maybe caught snoozing at the wheel there as Bardsley and Davidson were both thinking about how to find a way around Plank. Plank closes back in, though, on our leader. Isley down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. On the low side, Bardsley under fire from Porter as Plank is going for the lead to the inside of Isley. Isley clears and hangs on to lead that lap.
Yeah, Gavin Isley got a great restart there. Bardsley's falling back a little bit on the inside line. He's going to fall out of the top 5 in not too long if he doesn't find something down there. But Isley's great jump off the restart. I mean, we talked about you just control the restart when you're the leader, and the yellow comes back out, and he'll have another opportunity to lead a restart. Will be the number 18, and this time I think we got another complete turn spin here because not quite seeing who's involved in this incident. Maybe at the back of the field, Dave DiPetro. I don't even think it was DiPetro, but we'll try a replay and see if it's the 27Z car. Beautiful throwback, mind you, the Dave DiPetro machine. And no, there's no yellow for the 27 car, so not really sure where we're getting the yellow from here. Maybe Meitzler. This is already when the yellows come out, so not quite sure who the yellow is for. Again, we do not have immediate access to timing and scoring in the race control team, so sometimes they're going to call a yellow that we may not necessarily know about or know what it's going to be. But I guess that's just kind of the way it goes sometimes, Jonathan, especially when we're all remote like this. We're not sitting at a wonderful racetrack. We have to stay inside because it's cold out. We can't drive our race cars, but we might be getting... I don't think we're going to get a restart that's single file yet, but we should be getting close to it, I would think.
Yeah, we got to be getting close. I mean, it's tough because everybody is just so competitive. The cars are all so equal. These drivers are all so equal that running over each other is almost an inevitability. But I think when you get these cautions, the frustration builds. The frustration of having your momentum stalled, the desperation starts to kick in. We start to see some bold moves, like that last caution prior to this one where Matthews went for the slide job and wasn't clear, but that just leads to a stack of just what happens when you're starting to grip that steering wheel just a little bit more. You're starting to get a little bit more desperate. You can feel whether you got a good car or you got some confidence in yourself, and you got to make the moves happen while you can. Green flag back in the air. Isley gets a great jump on Plank again. Better jump, though, from Plank this time. He actually hangs with Isley, and Isley gets a little more sideways than I think he'd wanted to through the center of that corner. Briefly opens the door for Plank. Plank's going to file back in line, maybe take a run through 3 and 4, looking maybe a half lane lower as we work down. More cars stacking up at the back of the pack. More cars. That was a 4-5 car incident. They're still wrecking as they come down the front stretch. Wow, that got wild, and I think that was from about 6th or 7th place on back, so we'll see where that started. I believe it was a black car. I didn't get a chance to catch the number, though.
Well, I know Tyler Pachalski was involved. I saw Dean Reynolds in there. So let's go ahead and try the replay to see if we can follow the 79 car through this. And we're a little bit behind where this happens, but we can maybe see things start to kind of form up. I mean, this is a hurricane of race cars coming through 1 and 2. And he's going to get to the inside of Pachalski here, and then the backstretch should be where things kind of start to unfold with Reynolds. There's Pachalski behind him, and yeah, Jonathan, I mean, when I look down the back straightaway, I can see why a caution would come out. These guys are all real close together, but here we go into turn number 3. Reynolds hits the wall there. Maybe we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, I believe this may have actually started even just a little bit in front of Reynolds. I thought this was more... Oh, nope, there it is right there. Is that Cider or is that Beagle? That's Cider, I believe, right?
Yes, sir.
I got my 84s correctly?
Mm-hmm.
And then they all just start piling in from there. Reynolds and Chalsky get together. More wrecking. I can see my pal Travis Cunningham's in the middle of that one.
Yeah, Alan Slight getting caught up with Dean Meitzler right here. There goes Pat Reiser in the 8 car. Cody Higbee, I think he, for the most part, avoided getting too much out of this incident. Man, that 2 car looks good, but doesn't look good sitting backwards on the racetrack. Unfortunately, him and Meitzler are caught up in this as well. And It's just kind of the nature of the beast being more at the tail end of the field. So, I don't know. We've talked about this already tonight, Jonathan, but it's just kind of a luck game, and unfortunately the luck runs out when you're starting at the back of the pack.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, there's maybe the talk of, well, do we need to go single file for these restarts? And that is obviously an option that race control has to exercise, and if they feel it's necessary. But it's not like these are necessarily right after restarts. These are, they make a lap or two, and so even if you start them single file, there's just as much opportunity for this kind of chaos to exist throughout the field. But it's a good thing we're counting caution laps. That's all I'm going to say tonight. Otherwise, we'd be worried about the neighbors starting to call on us. And we are back racing again. Isley up at the front. Great jump on Plank once again. Plank not as close as that last restart. He'll have to regroup and really start to take a stab, and you can see him do that running down in the middle of the racetrack through 3 and 4. Isley's going to lead this lap as they're mostly single file at the front.
Yeah, Isley, Plank, Dylan Davidson, Joe Matthews, Jamie Porter, that's the top 5. And just as I say it, Ryan Beagle's going to make things interesting with the 84 car there. The red one, as Travis Miller right behind him. Haven't talked about the 22 car much so far, but he's in 6th place now, starting to lurk his way up into the top 5 maybe in due time. Somebody who's definitely one of the big names to win the whole championship even, let alone win races this season, is that 22 car painted in yellow tonight. He's throwing it back to his dad's car at the Syracuse Mile back in 2003 with that car, running behind Jamie Porter, who, as we mentioned, running a Brad Rouse throwback. And Ryan Beagle in front of him. We're watching and following along with that 84 car behind Joe Matthews, Dylan Davidson, Brandon Plank. And that guy at the front, a little bit of challenge, but nothing too big for Gavin Isley. He's still leading at lap 70.
Yeah, Jamie Porter going to be a guest on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast this week to talk a little bit about iRacing and talk about his racing history and how he's connected to the sport here locally in Southern Ontario. Travis Miller, we've got a chance to talk to him at the banquet. He was pretty excited as we see top 3 cars really starting to break away, including Dylan Davidson. He would love to win this one. Dylan also going to be on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast this week as we caught up with him at the Merrittville Speedway banquet. He had the honor of handing out the Pete Cosco Car Owner of the Year award for a driver and team owner, Freddie Carlton, at Merrittville Speedway this year. Very special moment for him, always special to represent his grandfather, and doing a great job here tonight again, up inside the top 3 in a race that I know he would love to win.
Yeah, he is running that throwback to Pete Cosco in the Pete Cosco Memorial, and fittingly driving it like Pete. He's in 3rd right now. I'm sure he'd like to get up a little bit further, but he has mounted a pretty good charge to this point to get up into this top 3 group. And that car is definitely hooked up. You can just tell by the separation of the top 3 cars that Dylan's got things figured out, especially now that the track's kind of slicked off. Behind him, a slider's going on for Jamie Porter to keep 4th spot away from Ryan Beagle. That's shaping up to be the most interesting race on the racetrack, as behind them is Travis Miller. And that gap, well, it seems like that gap's about, well, it's closing a little bit there for Miller. He might be able to get into this group for 4th.
Yeah, it really depends on how much the big dog starts to fight with Porter. If those guys get going, they could really, really start to make him. Oh, it looks like we got a yellow on the racetrack. Yeah, we do. I was wondering why the field was starting to gap themselves a bit more. But yes, yellow out once again. That was a nice little stretch of green flag racing. We saw the top 3 really break away from the pack, and then another 2 separated. I'm not sure what the incident is, but we'll try to see if we can grab that on a replay, Joe. And time winding down. 40 laps to go, or 50 laps? My math is bad sometimes.
Ooh, and this is definitely the cause of the yellow here. Whoa, doggy. This is Joe Matthews. Now, wait, now he's going to do this twice.
Oh, and he gets Randy Giroux. Another 360 there.
You know what?
Oof.
You know what? I think I know what the cause of this is. If you can notice, those wheels are completely pitched left the whole time, and the car is 100% on the throttle. That is a steering wheel problem. That is a simulator steering issue, whether it's a connection or if his wheel just reset. Something with the connection of the wheel he's using to drive this car went wrong and he had no control over any of that. Unfortunately for Joe Matthews, who had a very good race running to that point, collects the Big Show and some others in this yellow, and that is just kind of one of those things that happens sometimes in iRacing.
Yeah, one of those things that's unique to this brand of racing. Obviously, we don't have to worry about connection issues, but every once in a while you might have a steering wheel come off or something during an actual race in a modified, which can be just as scary or and lead to just as wild results. But tough break for the 9, who was a front runner early in this one, as we are lining him up, getting ready to go back racing again, and keep an eye on that inside row number 2 Dylan Davidson ride. He's looked fast, and he's got the track position. What can he do? And don't look now, but Jamie Porter, Ryan Beagle, and Travis Miller are that much closer to the front of the pack. Green flag in the air, and Isley leads them. 3 wide, briefly. Down the back straightaway, looks like everybody's going to file in. Davidson working over Plank for... Oh, look at the move from Beagle down low there as well. As Isley is continuing to lead, they're 3 wide. Look at the big dog. Try to dig on the bottom side. Hasn't been able to make it stick down there, but he keeps getting some great looks as Davidson is working over Plank, and Porter is just riding there waiting to see who he can capitalize on, as we got a pass for the lead now. Look at Plank going for the inside of Isley.
Plank's going for Isley, Beagle's going for Davidson and Porter at the same time. Porter's going to try to hold on the outside. I think that's going to be able to let him stick it. Beagle's running the bottom. Oh, Bardsley crashed behind him. And
yep,
Reynolds and Reiser.
Now they're all piling in.
Oh, man. Slides backwards.
That one started with a slide job gone wrong from Ryan Susi, I believe it was. Susi tried to pull the slide job on the 11 of Bardsley, and I think that is what's going to start this incident. But it doesn't look like either Bardsley or Susi ends up with the worst of it, as they really start to stack up behind them.
We are trying to find Susi on the racetrack. Whoa, Adam Hilton got up into the wall before that, and he's going to get that woed back down. This actually is not going to cause the yellow, although Adam Hilton got pretty darn close to doing so. Higbee has to get out of things. This is where we're going to watch Bardsley and Susi, like Jonathan said, and I think, Jonathan, you're going to call it pretty right. This is just going to be a slick racetrack and a little bit too aggressive into turn number 1.
Yeah, you can see it actually looks like Susi might be a little bit tight, didn't get the rear end to rotate the way he wanted until right there coming off the corner, and once he did get that rotation, Bardsley was to the outside, and he bounces it into the fence, comes back down into the racing line, and that's where everybody starts to really pile in here, as it looks like Bardsley's able to continue on pretty good, but you can see Giroux is there, and then, there goes Reiser, gets a piece of slight, and we get another yellow.
Yeah, everybody just piling in, and part of the problem, and this isn't a problem, this is just kind of the way things are, is that these cars, when the track's slick and they get they're heavier cars compared to maybe if you're from Pennsylvania or Indiana, you're used to sprint cars. They're hard to stop in a situation where you've got a car crashing 50 feet in front of you. I think that's generally most cars, but these guys especially, you have so little you can really do to avoid a car moving down in front of you, like what, Slight and Reiser did at the very end of this. It's just kind of in nature of everybody being so close together, and unfortunately, this does all stem from the one slide from a car that was not handling at 100% from Ryan Susi and Zach Bardsley, but, Giroux got involved into this, and then Reynolds and Reiser. It's just a train of cars moving into a space where there's already a little bit of calamity going on. And unfortunately, as we go back to green flag racing, that's just kind of the way things roll when you're in the middle of the back of the pack tonight.
Yep, we're back racing. Isley elects to go to the bottom side now, as Plank is working to the outside, down the back straightaway. Here comes the big dog, Ryan Beagle. He's making his move up to second. Davidson's starting to drop back to the back half of the top 5. He'll settle into 5th. Plank is going to try to fight back and take that second position, as we see the Jamie Porter 18 tonight, normally 45 in the series, but running a Brad Rouse throwback scheme, and he is in the middle of a sandwich there as they're battling 3 wide briefly for the moment for that third position. Everybody chasing Isley, though, in this one.
Yeah, and it looks like the bottom line's starting to come into play a little bit more. I think more people are starting to get down there. Beagle and Porter, they do so. Plank was trying. Plank's running the middle now with Miller a little bit further back. Dylan Davidson's running on the bottom. It seems like we've kind of had a shifting of the guard of where to go at the front of the field and where it is faster right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I didn't know if I figured the bottom would come back to these guys at some point, but I actually expected most of the field to be pushing the top side more. And you can see there are drivers maybe in the back half of the top 20, maybe the midfield there, where you can see some people are starting to push it. Plank is trying to find speed up there now, but the bottom seems to be the place to go as we are working lap 91, coming to lap 92 in this one, and Isley is out front. Then it's Plank, Eagle, Porter, and top 4 really breaking away is now Miller and Davidson are doing battle for 5th.
That battle going on at the end of this long back straightaway of cars all over the place. You can see Plank still trying to make momentum work through 3 and 4. We're closing in on the end of this race now. We're getting about to the point where we can say 20 to go. We've got about 25 laps left in the race tonight. Isley is leading. Beagle, Plank's on the outside now. Beagle maybe missed, or did he try to defend? The yellow flag's out. Doesn't matter. Well, he looked like he might have missed the entry a little bit, and well, there's the cause of the yellow right there.
Yeah, it looks like Ryan Susi was involved. I thought I saw maybe Sider was involved in that one as well, the other car, but we'll get a replay here and figure that out. Yeah, that appears to be Sider at the back of the pack, as Susi and Sider, I believe, are the two that are going to come together. We've got the replay showing now on screen. Sider down low. And this battle is inside the top 10, actually, because you can see Miller and Davidson just in front of them.
Yeah, this is going to be coming into turn number 1 here, and for what, 7th and 8th? And Sider just a little bit of a love tap. And, oh, did they get through that? Hey, look at Randy Giroux go. He avoided that one.
Accident avoidance, wow.
There we go. That's some good news for the 24 car. And you know what? Everybody else behind him, too, because none of those guys hit these two as they were getting woed down in the middle of 1 and 2. Everybody got around the outside, and that is a relief. I'm really glad to see that. Finally, we had a incident where everybody was able to get out of the way in time.
Yeah, that definitely could have been another huge stack up. Thankful it wasn't. And yeah, you say love tap from Sider. That was a bit more than a love tap. I don't want to say he cleaned out Susi, but that was definitely, again, maybe that give and take could have came in there, but we're really starting to close in towards the end of the race. So maybe I just want these guys to be more patient than is possible.
It did seem, I mean, it was definitely more, you want to talk about a love tap. Tyler Joshambowski is not happy with Dean Meitzler. He just gave him a little shot in the shorts as they're lining back up for the green flag. And that car's crabbing pretty badly, so the 88T just not having a good night to start off the season. But whether it's purposeful or not, it was a lot of momentum carried into the back of the 38 car that caused this yellow. But gives Gavin Isley an opportunity again to control a restart, and he does so into turn number 1.
Plank to the outside, to the extreme outside. Contact the big dog into the back of Isley. That's going to stack up Miller. Everybody keeps it going, though. Wow. That was, give the field credit there as more cars are... Oh, now we got a caution. Bardsley goes for a wild ride. Bardsley and Matthews, I believe that got a piece of him. We'll see when that car rolls back down on its side, but I think that's Matthews, right? I believe that was Joe Matthews piling in there. And we should be under yellow here again, I think.
Yes, we are under yellow here. The number 11 and number 9 cars both went for very wild rides. We'll get a replay of what happened here and try our best to kind of keep track of what happens. Dean Reynolds is involved, and let's go ahead and try to see what goes down here. We got Bardsley on the inside of Reynolds, DeRitter way down there. So they go around the outside of this big checkup that we saw off the restart, Jonathan, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens to cause this incident, because I thought we were in the clear.
Yeah, it really seemed that way as we were working into 3 and 4. Bardsley sails it in, and yeah, he gets... I'm not sure what happened there and what he was thinking, but he gets a piece of Reynolds. Reynolds hangs on to it. It's actually Bardsley... It's almost like maybe Bardsley wasn't expecting Reynolds to check up as much as he did through that corner. And then once he did, he had to really lift. And I think it was Matthews that just kind of got collected by driving into what was a flipping and sideways number 11 of Bardsley.
Yeah, let's go ahead and try this one more time, and we will ride on board with Joe Matthews as he comes into the corner. Bardsley, he can't even see Bardsley. He's right behind Alan Slight, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, we're going to take a wild ride here. Well, we got a nice gyro cam. I didn't know it was a gyro cam. Or maybe we broke the we probably broke the mount for the camera, honestly, is what happened with the 9 car as it goes upside down. Yeah, that's a tough break for Joe. He's running really well at the start of this race, too.
Yeah, he really was. He qualified well, started up front. Bardsley, another one that was running up front through most of this race, but they have had a tough turn of events and both find themselves at the back of the pack after being involved in yet another incident. And I believe that is multiples for. We need like a stats man. Like we have a. I'm gonna give a shout out because I feel like he might be watching right now. But shout out Statman Fran. Name through Southern Ontario. Most people would know Fran Burchard and his commitment to dirt racing and stock car racing throughout Southern Ontario and Western New York. Keeps some great stats for all of us as we're back under green. And Plank is going to lead Porter now at the front of this field as Isley was the part of that stack up, of course. So he's got less track position than he once had as well. Another issue is that I believe that was Randy Giroux that has now found himself on his lid.
Yes, that is Randy Giroux, the same place that we had the last caution. Now we've got the number 24 car upside down on the racetrack. And unfortunately, we're going to pull this replay screen back out, and we'll have to see what happens with the 24 cars. He's following Dylan Davidson. I mean, he's in pretty prime real estate right here. He's moving up into the top 5, and Dylan with a little bit of a little connection issue right here, blinks a little out of turn number 2. I wonder if that's going to end up being a part of this. No, he caught this all on his own.
Oh, no. Randy just makes a little bit of a mistake there, tags the outside wall and goes for a wild ride. Reynolds maybe gets a piece of that and sends him for even a bit more of a spin cycle. But, yeah, Randy Giroux, you're right. You know, Randy was hard on himself when we talked to him. Oh, and you see Zach getting involved there in the 11 car. But, you know, Randy was really hard on himself in our interview with him on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast, saying that he's not much of an iRacer, but he was up there in the top 10. He kind of methodically worked his way to the front. Fairly uneventful night for him, and now that's going to give him a bit of a reset here. He's going to have to start at the back of this one.
Yeah, that's going to be a reset at the very end of the evening that he did not want to see. They're going to be, well, we're got 1 to green here now, and we're going to have about 12 laps to the checkered if we can make it that far without a yellow, which I don't know about you, Jonathan, but I'm not going to make a bet on that one. And we'll try to get a little closer to the end of the Pete Cosco Memorial here. We want to thank our partners, MDR Designs, BRPtv, Cosco Haulage, Coda Construction, Creative Turnings, and everybody else behind us for bringing together, 50 people on the stream? That's a lot of people. We really appreciate everybody coming out to watch the Pete Cosco Memorial tonight, and 117 laps getting into the books. One less is going to be at the line, and Brandon Plank's going to lead it as we go back to green.
Yeah, he jumps on it, but Porter's going to fight back to the inside. Jamie Porter knew what he was doing there as he's trying to set up a bit of a crossover move after starting on the outside of that front row. But now he's under fire. Look at the move from Isley, who's back up into the mix. Isley working the low side, trying to find a way around. Up, and there's the yellow flag.
Yeah, we got
every time. I was going to lecture you saying that we needed to be more positive, that, you know, there's no reason that these guys can't get 12 clean laps to end this one. And it's a good thing I didn't say nothing because obviously there's no announcer jinx because I didn't even say it and it still happened.
Yeah, whether I jinxed it for better or worse, too, I'll take the responsibility for that one. I don't think it's Josh Mbowski that causes this. No, it's not. So we're going to try and see what we can get here. I don't think it was Matthews, but let's try Matthews and see if he's the cause of this yellow. Yeah, no. I
don't think it's Matthews.
No, it's not Matthews. Is it Berger up there? I don't think we haven't talked about Brian Berger at all tonight, and I guess that's a good thing. He's stayed out of trouble because most of the people we've talked about the last couple minutes have been causing yellows. But I don't know. I don't see anybody backwards.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we went yellow for, or what exactly happened there. Uh, Again, we were kind of focused up on. I was watching Isley make that bold move to the inside, and I thought maybe mid-pack something might have happened. But even from this replay, I don't really see an issue. Are those two cards coming together? Nope, that's just the back of Davidson. Yeah, I'm really unsure. I'm not sure what happened there, but either way, we're under yellow, and we're gonna have less than 10 laps to settle this one.
I think
Hopefully, get a green flag run.
I think it was Bardsley. I can't quite tell you, but I know that we're under 10 laps to go now, and they're going to get re-racked or restacked, and we won't have to worry about who caused the yellow because we'll go green and try to go to the finish of this one with Brandon Plank and Jamie Porter leading us back, and hopefully we can stay clean. We can get a nice little race to the end of the Pete Cosco Memorial here to start off the BRP iRacing Series season. Green's back out, and Plank controls it once again, but Porter's not going to give it up that easy.
Porter's going to have to deal with Isley to his inside, though, as Davidson under fire from Beagle. Good, racing at the front of the pack. A little bit of contact between our leaders. That got really close. If they touched, it was a glove tap. Oh, more contact as Porter bounces off Plank. Isley and Plank side by side for the lead into turn one. Round the outside, it's Plank trying to take the advantage on the inside. Look down low. Isley's going to nose ahead and clear Plank into 3 and 4. Plank comes back on the outside. Great race for the lead.
Isley trying to hold station. We got 6 laps left in this race, and they are right beside each other. Remember, there's $117 on the line for the winner here, and I don't want to take 75 for second right now. I'm Gavin Isley looking at the bottom, catfishing to Brandon Plank, who's kind of running the middle line. Porter's right there. Beagle holding a charge of the top line, and it's at least holding station for 4th place. They come through 1 and 2 again, and kind of missed the bottom a little bit there for Isley, and that's going to give Plank a little bit of an edge.
5 laps to go into 3 and 4. Plank really trying to keep Isley pinched down. Isley got to be careful not to catch that inside wall. He's so low up coming off of Porter. 4 down into 1 and 2. Plank's going to nose ahead. Down the back straightaway now. Looks like Plank is going to clear Isley. Isley trying to find some daylight as they work underneath in 3 and 4. Well, Porter goes to the high side trying to make something happen to catch these top 2.
3 to go at the line. Porter is fast, but he can't get the grip off the corner, and he is going to be looking high down the back straightaway. Isley right to the tail of Brandon Plank. Porter is still there, though. 2 to go at the line, and I would give this one to Plank this time with Porter making a big charge, and he might have something to say about it down the backstretch.
Down the back straightaway. Look at the outside move. That time not as good on the exit of 2 was Porter. Porter through 3 and 4, though, he's found something. Beagle trying to find something on the outside as well. 2 laps to go in this one.
They bring us to the white flag. Here we go into turns 1 and 2. Porter all the way to the top of the racetrack, looking for a little bit of extra grip for that number 18 car. The 18 on the bottom. He follows Plank in. Porter sends it as hard as he can. And out of turn number 4, the first checkered flag of the season, and $117 to Brandon Plank. The Pete Cosco Memorial is going to go to car number 51 out on the track with a great run for 2 18 cars rounding out the podium. Jonathan, so glad we got to the end of that race. I'm so glad we got to the end of that race without another yellow.
That actually ended up being a great show for the end of this one. Brandon Plank they made him work for it. Isley down low, Porter upstairs. A little bit of shenanigans going on between Miller and Davidson here after the race has ended. But talk about a great finish and a great way to start the season. And what better way than some hard racing. I'm sure Pete Cosco would love to see. Even in the virtual world, he would have loved what he was seeing out of these guys putting on a great show to start what is going to be an awesome BRP season.
Absolutely. That's a great way to start things off. Dean Reynolds coming out here to, I guess, get a little picture. You can hear him revving up a little bit to send some congratulations to the top 3 at the end of this race. And, well, there's your winner, Brandon Plank, with a stellar run. We'll go ahead and talk to our winners from the show tonight, and we'll start off with Brandon Plank. I'll hand him to you, Jonathan, give you the honors of talking to our race winner as he comes up to meet us here on the front straightaway after winning this race.
Brandon Plank joining the show, joining the Victory Lane celebrations. Brandon, talk to us about how hard you had to work there to hold off both Isley and Porter looking high and looking low at the end.
Man, it's so tough. I didn't really know where to be. I knew that Gavin had kind of passed me on the top, so I kind of moved up, and then he passed me on the bottom, so I started to migrate back down towards the bottom, and I didn't know where to be. So that was a lot of fun. Gavin obviously was racing super hard, and we all are, right? So I appreciate him, not turning me, and it goes all the way around with good racing right there, and really excited to get the win with the Mike Colston, memorial car, especially for the Pete Cosco race. It's really exciting.
And just taking a look at the stats from tonight, you obviously take home the win. You started second. You never dipped lower than third in the race, and you led 46 laps. What kind of message are you sending to this field as you're looking to take home another championship here in the BRP series?
Yeah, I mean, you just try your best every time you're out, right? This is such a good group of guys, and hopefully, we can continue to carry the momentum throughout the season. It's always cool racing Monday nights. It gives you something to look forward to, and I gotta start to try to qualify a little bit better. I got really lucky in the heat race when first and second kind of got tangled up, and I was able to get around them, and that gave me a good starting spot. So needed kind of everything to kind of fall the right way, but really happy, and appreciate everybody tuning in, and obviously you guys, and it's great, everyone who supports Pete Cosco and his legacy, and it's cool to be able to do this on a Monday night.
And we'll get you out of here on this one. Just talk to us. It was a pretty wreck-filled race for you. Just talk to us about how hard it was to get into maybe a bit of a rhythm, a bit of a flow when we have as many yellows as we did.
Yeah, I don't really know kind of what was going on there, but I really felt like I was starting to gain some ground on Gavin. It's so tough to try to make a move on a guy right after a restart because everyone is so bunched together. You really need 5-6 laps in order to not have the third place guy get you if you do try to make a move. So yeah, definitely frustrating, and I don't really think it was anybody necessarily maliciously getting into guys. It seemed like throughout the driver chat it was pretty pretty kind amongst everybody, just honest mistakes. So it is what it is, and it's a really long race, so a lot of cautions in a really long race makes for a long night.
Well, at the end of a long night, you are our winner. Congratulations, Brandon, and congrats on starting the 2022-23 season off on the right foot.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Brandon Plank, the winner tonight of the Pete Cosco Memorial. Joe, what an awesome way to start this one.
Yeah, absolutely, Jonathan. A great way to start the season, a great way to start things off for your wallet, a great thing with momentum, and a great racetrack to win at, too. We do come back to Volusia later on in the season, so that's definitely going to be a factor when we come back to talk about, what is Brandon Plank going to be able to do the second time around at this facility, and what a great race to win it. And the guy who comes home second, I can't credit him anything less than a stellar performance tonight. Gavin Isley's here in the booth. You got a copy, Gavin?
I do.
We got Gavin Isley up here, and my man, you put on a stellar show. We talk about coming into this race. I was making the jokes about how we used to call you the catfish. You signed up as the gas man tonight, and whether you go from top to bottom, the nickname kind of changes, but you used both ends of it. Top and bottom were both in the back of your mind, and watching the two of them unfold, I'm sure, was something you really had to keep track of going through the 117 laps here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Track changed a lot throughout the race, and kind of got the lead there, stayed there under all them cautions, then kind of screwed myself in the restart, put us behind the 8 ball, but we made a good charge at the end.
Yeah, you did make a good charge, and you, for the most part, stayed out of trouble. I know there were a couple instances of things going wrong, but there were a couple of cautions along the way, that string sort of in the middle of the race where you really had to keep your nose clean and be smart about restarts and everything. Just talk to us about how you kept your nose clean and how you kept yourself in the right mindset to get through that middle portion.
I just kind of put in cruise control just to make sure nothing happened, or if I didn't make any mistakes towards the outside wall, and just try to stay ahead of everybody else.
And this does set you up pretty nicely in the championship. You're going to be sitting P2. I know we're only one race in, and we've got 20 to go, so we got plenty left. But surely this is a good start for you, and it makes you feel pretty good about what's yet to come with BRP iRacing Series in this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Good run for the first show, and hopefully we can carry some momentum.
Well, absolutely, Gavin. Well, thank you for racing with us tonight. Congratulations on a second place. It's not $117, but it's $75. That's still pretty good. I mean, I'd be pretty satisfied with that myself.
Well, absolutely. Take it any day.
And that is Gavin Isley finishing second tonight. He, in the first of the two 18 cars on the podium, with a great run, and definitely think he's one to watch for the rest of this season. The other 18 car on the podium is a car scored as number 45, Jamie Porter. I'm going to hand him off. Jonathan Howe's got him here.
Jamie Porter, you got a copy.
I gotcha.
Buddy, that was an awesome race from you. We talked about our first two finishers, both leading over 40 laps. You didn't get a chance to lead any laps, but I think you had one of the more impressive drives with just, starting in sixth position, falling back to eighth at one point. Just talk to us about how hard you had to fight to get back up to a podium spot.
Honestly, it just kind of fell into my lap when I don't even remember what lap it was, but Gavin got into the wall and on the bottom there, and I just happened to be in the middle, and kind of the seas parted, and I just found a hole and just drove right through it. But yeah, starting sixth definitely wasn't ideal. I was hoping to be farther up front, but stuff happens, But yeah, I fell back to eighth. It's when you're against these guys, it's so hard to gain spots back because everybody's so quick. It's an unreal field, is what it is.
Yeah, it really was. There was a lot of competition throughout the field. Obviously, a lot of wrecks. From your vantage point, just how did the yellows affect you and maybe hinder or your progress at any points in the race?
Actually, the first 4 or 5 cautions, I think I just got stuck in the bottom every single time, and at that point, the bottom wasn't the place to be. So it's taking you 2, 3, 4 laps to get back to the top, and at that point, 4 or 5 cars have already got by you.
You said this one kind of fell into your lap, but you got to take him any way you can get him. How much confidence and how good are you feeling to start the year off on a podium or on the podium?
Well, it's great to be up here behind Brandon Plank and Gavin Isley is 2 of the best guys out here right now. Obviously, the field's got some serious heavy hitters right now. Travis Miller, he was there all night. I kind of seen him stalking. I got nervous there, but for momentum wise, it's unmatched. Coming in the first race, Joe knows how nervous I was about 30 minutes before, and just
come
to
on,
kind of
you're
get
the
out here.
pistol, dude. You got this.
Oh, here we go. No, but just to come out here and get a podium right away is great. It's really good for the team.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the interview. You're going to be a guest on this week's Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast to talk a little bit about this league and your history of dirt racing and what you've been involved with in the Southern Ontario area here. And I just wanted to, before we get you out of here, just talk to us a little bit about this throwback scheme that you're running tonight.
Yeah, so I don't think Brad knew that I was actually putting the 18R on it, so that's kind of a cool surprise to him. I know he's watching, so thanks for the support, Brad. But I just scrolled through Facebook one day, and it was probably 10 minutes after we talked about doing the throwback, and just scrolling through, looking at old racing pics. And this is kind of what my colors are normally with the yellow, so I figured we'll just throw her on, see if it brings us some luck. So I think I might stick with it for a little bit longer.
Oh, so you're saying, are we getting an 18 change? Is that what the number is going to be? You're ditching the 45 already?
We'll see.
Awesome. Well, thanks for driving with us tonight. Thanks for the interview, and you can catch Jamie Porter on the Southern Ontario Dirt Show podcast a little later, probably out on Friday. So we had a blast catching up at the Merrittville banquet, and congratulations on the podium, buddy.
Thank you.
Jamie Porter brings it home third. Joe, this was, I got to say, yes, there was a lot of cautions that maybe threw off the momentum of this race, but it ended up with a great dash to the finish and lots of storylines, I think, to carry over to next week already.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And that is something that kind of can come around with this series, especially for these guys. I mean, you have to think about, especially for the first race of the season, a lot of these guys are used to racing and feeling the car around them. That's something I think that at least I talk about with one of the people watching this broadcast right now is my dad. We've kind of talked before about how when you drive a real car, you're using your sight, you're using what you feel. You can kind of just, I mean, you can tell when the rear end's going to fall out from underneath you kind of thing. You can feel yourself sliding. You can't do that with a video game. I mean, as much as you can get a butt kicker model for your racing seat and good feedback on your steering wheel, you're not going to be able to get that full immersion even with a VR headset. So these guys are going to have to, kind of get suited to that again. especially those who race real cars, they're not used to that, or they haven't been used to that for a little while. So there's little kinks and quirks for everybody to work out, just getting comfortable again behind the wheel of the cars in this series. And we get yellows every here and there, but I agree 100%. The racing was stellar. Racing in the daytime really helped the track age and give us a really nice double lane track that would ebb and flow from the top to the bottom and back and forth, and it made the guys search a little bit and think a little bit, and that usually pays off when it comes to seeing good racing and putting a good product out on the field. So with that, we can go ahead and look at our results. They are unofficial, but pretty much official, Jonathan, and we did meet the top 3, but we can run through the rest of the top 10 now.
Yeah, great run for Ryan Beagle, bringing it home in 4th. Travis Miller, a heavy favorite in this series for the championship, brings it home 5th. Dylan Davidson, running the Pete Cosco scheme, a great finish in his grandpa's race tonight, brings home the 73 and 6th. Dean Reynolds, Jeff Sharp, Ryan Susie, and Corby Daniels. How about the Beef? Good recovery for the Beef, who was involved in a couple early incidents, as well as Ryan Susie to recover to a top 10 spot.
Yeah, 100% here. And so the rest of the order behind them is going to look like this as the top 10 will stay up here. Dan Sider got 11th. Pat Reiser 12th. Brian Berger is 13th. Zach Bardsley ends up 14th at the end of this one. And then you've got Travis Cunningham in 15th. Dave DiPetro in the 27Z. Then Dean Meitzler 17th. Alan Slight ends up 18th. He's the best finishing driver with a small block in it tonight. Then Liam Daniels and Matt DeRitter behind them round out the top 20. Randy Giroux, Joe Matthews, Tyler Joshimbowski, Adam Hilton, Cody Higbee, and Tyler Pachalski. They all finished a couple laps down, and a couple of those guys at the end of that didn't even finish the race tonight, unfortunately. Not the start they wanted for the season ahead, but hey, you've got what? You've got a good 20 races on the schedule to get those points back, and everybody gets a drop week. So that's going to play into things at the end of it. But, Jonathan, that is pretty much it from Volusia. What final words do you have about the race that you want to get out there about what we saw and how that might show us what we're going to see next week at Lernerville?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the favorites are the favorites for a reason. Obviously, Brandon Plank gets the win in the first time out. Isley, Porter, we saw Miller get a top 5. So that'll be the story to watch is the top 5. Who's going to be the one that breaks through to really run away with this thing? And do we get a surprise driver who maybe we weren't expecting at the start of the year, who kind of can emerge to be a constant threat for top 5s and top 10s in this series? And I think the other thing to note, only 60 laps next week at Lernerville. That's going to make a big difference. And as much as it's a bigger track, 60 laps is still going to feel a lot shorter after running 117 on the first night of the season.
Yeah, 100%. And we want to thank everybody for watching. And on behalf of myself and Jonathan and all of our partners here, we want to thank MDR Designs for their competitively priced graphic design work that you can check out with the Facebook page at MDR Designs, for supporting us. Jam Performance, if you know, you know. Creative Turnings out of Waterford, Connecticut, the Super Dirt Car Series for the premier modified racing series in North America. Dig Race Products with their hands-on at the track shock development and setup help. BRPtv for covering the series. The Southern Ontario Dirt Show for giving some love to, obviously, the Southern Ontario dirt scene, but also to the drivers in this series. And on behalf of everybody who is watching tonight, it's all in the name of Pete Cosco for the Pete Cosco Memorial, and hopefully, Pete can look down and see a good show here from everyone tonight. So they will be bringing that forward to the RKR race next week at Lernerville, as Jonathan and I will be happy to see you there. Stay safe until then. We will see you on the flip side. Thank you for watching. Be sure to check out our sponsors and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell for notifications about next week when we go live next time. We'll see you in Lernerville.